Hey folks, welcome to the Flipside. I'm Sam.
I'm JT.
And we are here doing our top 5 drafting games. And we actually started this over on the Dice Tower. Maybe you watched that before you came here. If you didn't, you can go over there and check out our bottom 5 games. That's basically just numbers 10 through 6 in this drafting category. But this one right here is going to be our top 5. What'd you think?
The best of the best.
Best of the best.
Minus Blood Rage.
Sir! Minus
No.
Blood Rage, that is correct. Do not expect Blood Rage on my list. I did say on the other one that I purposefully excluded Blood Rage because
that's what created
knew
the list.
it was going to happen. That's kind of how we came up with this list. We were immediately thinking, how could we do a list of, if you like Blood Rage, then here are a bunch of other games that you might like. And so we would, of course, exclude Blood Rage from that list. So I just carried that little caveat over into this one.
Yep.
So we are doing our average weight for this, so you can kind of have an idea of what to expect. What was your average weight for this one?
2.33.
2.33. Mine was 1.97, with my lightest at a 1.5 and my heaviest at a 2.35.
Which you already had.
Already had both of those in the other list, so this one's going to be all over the place.
We do, for the first time ever, agree on the category rules, which is good.
Yep.
No bidding games, and no buy row games, something you have to buy, purchase with stuff.
Yep.
So.
Drafting is just, you see it, it's available to you,
Pick it up.
you take it.
Yep.
And,
I like that.
and then something else happens, whether it's closed drafting, you have it in your hand, you take it, and you pass the rest on, or it's in a row there, you just take it. You don't have to pay anything for it.
Yep,
Although
like it.
he already broke that rule once.
No, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. He just
Depends on
bent
how
it.
you play the game.
He bent it. All right,
right.
here we go. Numbers 5 through 1 coming at you. My number 5 is one that it is closed drafting. You have a hand of cards. You're going to pick one. You're going to pass the others to your left or right, whatever. The weight of this game is my second heaviest game, and that is Seven Wonders. Seven Wonders. I've loved this game ever since it came out. It has not really fallen by the wayside, but it has gone into the kind of on the back burner for a while because it is a good gateway game, but scoring is a bear. And usually people's eyes gloss over at that point when you go into scoring. And then it kind of turns them off. But they've enjoyed the game. So
You don't teach them how to score before the game?
well, I'd tell you how it scores. But even if you tell them how it scores, at the end of the game, they're still going, what? And so that's the only reason why it's just a little bit complex that way, but there is a lot of moving parts as well during the course of the game, but it's one of my favorite drafting games, and I love the theme. I love everything about it as far as that's concerned, but the scoring is a little wonky, and that's what usually makes people make the face at the end of the game. But
Get out the spreadsheet.
that's right, exactly. So that's my number 5, Seven Wonders.
Nice. My number 5 doesn't have cards at all.
What?
You didn't say it has a card drafting game. There was no card drafting game included in this.
That's true.
All right, my number 5 is also the heaviest on my list. Drafting games are quite light typically, but it is Azul Queen's Garden. In Azul Queen's Garden, and in all Azuls, you are reaching out there, you're drafting the tiles you want, you're putting them on your board in your specific patterns to make points and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
Depending on the thing. But in Queen's Garden, you have the added thing that instead of having all of the things around in a circle that you can pick from any of them, you only get the first person gets to pick from one, and as soon as that does, then the second one populates, and then it gets crazier and crazier and crazier. Anyways, Azul is a great game in all of its forms, and is what I think about when I think about drafting on table. I really think about Azul. So
Yep. Azul is a definitely a good drafting game, and like you said, in almost any iteration, it's really fun. But you'll probably gravitate towards one or the others,
Sure.
As you play, just because it'll some will fit better play styles and all that other kind of stuff. So, all right, that's a cool pick. It's very advantageous that this is my number 4 compared to his number 5, because this is a better version of Azul.
Oh.
And it is called Stained Glass of Sintra.
Nice. Well done.
Like I said, I gravitate more towards Stained Glass of Sintra. He gravitates more towards Queen's Garden because it is a heavier game. There's more going on.
There's more thought process into it,
right.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thanks. Thanks for turning that into a burn. Appreciate
No,
it.
there's more things to think about in that one.
That's correct. And there's less things to think about in Stained Glass of Sintra. But I like the idea of building your stained glass windows and
Sure.
stuff like that. And Azul Stained Glass of Sintra. But it is truly the same idea. You're drafting these little bakelite tiles that you're going to be fitting into your windows or into your garden over there, and it's a really neat system, and it's a great drafting game. But that's my number 4, my favorite version of Azul, Stained Glass of Sintra.
Very nice. I still own all the versions. So,
Yeah.
I don't own all the versions. I don't have all the.
I like
variants.
the original one.
I don't have the little one.
least. I like the original one the least.
I agree, but that's the one I teach the most people, which is kind of crazy. I teach that to so many people. So, and I like it the least. But all right, my number 4 was wait, is that our first crossover? I think so.
Our
yes.
first crossover.
My number 4 is our first crossover.
Yay!
From the last one. Closed drafting, 2-player, and the heaviest game on your list, Beer and Bread.
Beer and Bread.
Beer and Bread is a great game. You're drafting, you're closed drafting cards, picking one, using it for one of 3 different multi-purpose abilities or uses, and then swapping them out. At least in the wet seasons, in the dry seasons, you could do a completely different thing. But it is very integral. Every single thing you do when you draft those cards means the world to you.
Very important.
I mean, it is awesome, awesome, awesome 2-player, good thinky Euro.
Yeah, absolutely is. That's a good pick. All right, first crossover. Are we going to have any more?
I would assume 1.
Maybe.
I would assume 1. I would like to say 2, but 1 for sure.
Okay, 1 for sure. We'll see. All right, my number 3 is a game that is very near and dear to where we are living currently here in the Pacific Northwest, and this is a game called Cascadia. Cascadia is a open drafting game where you're going to be basically choosing 2 things. Now, this might be a little bit of a bend of a rule, because if you want to choose 1 tile and a different animal,
he has to pay for stuff.
Woo-hoo! Yeah, exactly.
Now we're
so
even.
If you want to,
I know
but you don't have to.
That's right.
There you go. So you do have to pay some of those pine cones if you want to break the rules a little bit in the game. But generally speaking, you're taking a tile and an animal token that is paired with that tile, and you're adding it to your ecosystem. And I just really enjoy this game a lot. I really enjoy it with the landscapes expansion that comes with it, because I like what it adds to the game. It gives you the ability to score for different things and in different ways. And it does make it a little bit tighter as far as how many spots you have for those different animal tokens. So I like what the game does in the landmarks, not landscapes.
I was going to say that, but
yep.
Let you do your thing.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yep.
It's the same thing, just a little bit different. But anyway, I really enjoy Cascadia, even just as a base game. Without landmarks, I think it's really good. But with landmarks, it's even better. That's my number 3, Cascadia.
Nice. And for those of you that haven't watched the other video yet, I put in a little caveat, side note, love of all games. But all of the tile layers. You get 5 tiles in the middle, and you draft from them. I excluded those, or I didn't. I just honorable mentioned those because there's a whole bunch of them that could take that one spot. So,
Truth.
But that's a great game. All right, my number 3, I would assume is on his list. And if it's not, well, I don't know. But it should be on his list. And it is a card game called Stone Spine Architects. This game I've fallen in love with it. My wife fallen in love with it. Every person I've played with it falls in love with this game. It is so much fun. And you're just closed drafting these little dungeon rooms that have goblins and kobolds and gnolls and treasures and traps and all these kind of things in them. And you're trying to create this little 4x4 grid of your dungeon and trying to get from the entrance to the exit. It's pretty easy. No, there's a lot of cool things that go into it. But Stone Spine Architects, great drafting game.
I absolutely
great pattern
agree.
building. This is an amazing game.
And it spans, it's a bridge from D&D over into board games as well.
Sure.
Because I think people who like D&D will see and be familiar with everything that's going on as far as building a dungeon and finding, dungeons that have traps and monsters and all of these kind of things. So it makes sense to them. But you don't need that. You don't need that D&D experience in order to grasp what's going on in the game. It's just a generic fantasy setting.
Yep.
So I think it's a great little bridge for that. But yeah, other than that, it's also a very good game. Very good, very good. Great pick.
Great pick.
All right, my number 2 is a game that I was just, it's new to me. It's not new to everybody, but I just learned how to play this game at Dice Tower East. And Jesse and I have really come to like this game a lot. I immediately went out and bought it and the expansion when I was in San Antonio. It's called Forest Shuffle. And Forest Shuffle is... it is an open drafting, but there have to be cards in the clearing in order for it to be an open drafting. Otherwise, you're just top-decking cards. But more often than not, there are cards in the clearing.
Okay. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, there are cards in the clearing more often than not, and you can draft those cards. And the way that they're getting into the clearing is that you're using those cards to pay for other cards that you're putting into your tableau. So you pay for your cards, and it goes into the clearing, but the clearing will clear, sorry about that, once it reaches 10 cards.
Gotcha.
And
so they're 10 laid out.
There's 0 laid out at the beginning of the game.
I know,
but once there are 10 in the clearing, then it wipes. But so it is an open drafting game, very similar to a Ticket to Ride mechanism, where there's a stack of cards. You can take one from here and one off the top, or you can take 2 off the top, or you can take 2 from here and all that kind of thing. But you don't replace if you do take from the clearing. So it is open drafting, but it's a little bit of a modified open drafting, but it doesn't bother me that much. But I really enjoy this game. It does have the caveat that scoring is a little bit less intuitive. They actually, I think, would benefit very well from making a scoring app for this. But I don't think that's going to happen, but they should, because it would probably make access to the game a lot easier. But
that's cool. I like that mechanism. So
yeah, it is cool. It's very nice.
Kind of like that ethnos mechanism.
Sure.
When you get all that stuff out there, people can get more choices to pick from.
Yep, absolutely. All right, that's my number 2, Forest Shuffle.
Very nice. My number 2 is an open draft with a caveat that you can't buy from it, but somebody else can. And when you're drafting, you're placing these little critters, those little underwater critters across this board. And as you're doing that, everybody else can buy them from you. But then whatever's left there go in these stacks that you can draft and pick up as you go. So there's multiple ways to collect these cards. There's a game called Abyss.
Oh.
Now, it is a different type of open drafting. It's not a standard open drafting.
Sure.
But you do see everything that's going on, and as people play, you actually can you can draft on their turn by paying them a pearl and taking the card they want. But like I said, you're also creating these stacks that can also be taken at that point in time. So a little bit of a stretch on the drafting portion there, maybe. But
he's got 2 bins so far.
This board is open to everybody as everything comes across. So, and as the stacks get built. So,
wow,
I really love this game.
That's cool. Yep, I would not have thought of Abyss as a drafting game, but he's right. Yeah, it's cool. No worries. My number 1, our second crossover.
Yeah,
he knew it was coming.
Yep.
Stone Spine Architects. This is an amazing game.
Yeah,
it is so fun. I love drafting, closed drafting specifically. I really enjoy closed drafting a lot, and this one is great for it because often you will have multiple cards in your hand that you want to keep for your dungeon, but you can only keep one. And you're hoping beyond hope that at least one of those other 2 are going to come back to you.
Yep, and in a 4-player game, you're just won't. No.
Yep, probably won't. Yep. So you really have to constantly be thinking about, well, if I take this one, I could do this, this, and this, and if I take this one, I could do this, and this is probably more likely based on what I've already seen in the closed draft. And I love this game. It's got a great theme. It's got a really good set collection mechanism going with it as well, because a lot of those scoring cards are looking for multiple sets of kobolds or multiple sets of gnolls or goblins or what have you. And I like that as well. I like the way the market works as well, and how the money works. You know, if you have the most money, then you get to pick first. If you spend an amount of money that leaves you still in first, you get to choose again. I love that. I think that's a great mechanism for market buying things.
Yep.
Just so many good things about this game. Thunderworks did a great job with it. So that's my number 1, Stone Spine Architects.
Very nice. Good pick. Of course, I knew that was going to happen. Any idea what my number 1 is?
You've already had your heaviest game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your heaviest game wasn't the one I was thinking of.
Oh.
When you said what it was. So I don't have. Let me look. Hold on. Yeah. See, I don't think any of these. No, I think I know what it is.
What?
Wormspan.
No, that's not a drafting game.
It kind of is.
It kind of isn't.
It kind of is.
It kind of isn't.
It's open drafting.
By doing an action, that's more like action drafting. I think that fits in that. Doing an action and picking from 3 cards. I don't know. I guess it's a very tiny. Some games, the mechanism we're talking about is like such a small piece of that game that I don't call it a drafting game.
I get you.
But all right, my number 1 is the Granddaddy, brand new Granddaddy, because it's a newer game. It's an old game, but it's a new game. And it's all about drafting in all of its forms, and it's called Comic Hunters. In Comic Hunters, there are 4 different ways you draft cards.
That's true.
Between closed drafting, drafting out of a grid, there's 4 different types of drafting inside Comic Hunters.
I got you.
And all you're doing is you are the Comic Hunters. You're going out there, you're trying to make your collection the best. And by any drafting means necessary.
Yeah,
I love Comic Hunters. I've played it several times, but I've never played. I got a copy not too long ago. Super excited. Haven't played my copy yet, but yeah, this is a great game, all about card drafting.
I didn't know this was going to be available for this list.
That's true,
but that's why I didn't really think about it. Had I known that was part of the pool, I probably would have picked that for you because I do know how much you like it. But I do enjoy it. I've only played this game once.
Yeah.
I've only played this game once, so but he's absolutely right. Depending on I love how they've had thematic reasons for all of those different kinds of drafts.
Exactly.
Too. You're at a convention.
Yep.
You're at a
shop swap meet,
or you're at a I love how they were able to do that. It's a great little thematic plug in an otherwise mechanically driven game.
Yep.
It works though. It really
Very much
works.
so.
Very cool. All right. Well, that is our 5 through 1, our top 5 drafting games. Give us a like, subscribe if you'd like to. We would like you to. It would be awesome. Leave us a comment. Tell us what we missed.
Yeah.
We'll interact with you. But we appreciate your time. We thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.
Go watch the other video too. And we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.